All right, we continue our discussion with Director Scott Angelle. It's been a very interesting discussion, and we're working our way towards a time lapse, which I think is going to get people's attention. It really did. But let's talk about the Gulf of Mexico royalties by the water depth.
Yeah, that's an important point because, again, this area, and in particular Louisiana, has hitched its wagon from a coastal restoration standpoint to revenues that come from offshore. We've dedicated those revenues in a constitutional amendment. I worked with Lulin Petrie and Reggie Dupre to write that constitutional amendment. I was part of the generation of Louisianans that brought that forward, and it's good public policy. And as we were going through this, and I was visiting with Senator Chabert about some solutions, he made it very clear to me. He said, Scott, look, one of the things that we can't do, we've made so much progress in recent years on dedicating this revenue from offshore to coastal restoration and hurricane protection. We can't go backwards while we're trying to stimulate jobs, and we want to do that. We have to be about bringing both forward. So I said, well, let me get back with you. Let me go take a deeper look at the data. Go back to the slide. We looked at that data, and the red line, I mean the blue line is that portion of the royalties that come to the country from the shallow water area. Okay. Now, if you take a look at that, it peaked in about 2007. It has been on a decline. It had a little bump in 2009 and 10, and it has been on a decline. Okay, so if you're a coastal restoration advocate, which I realize this audience is, and I am as one as well, you actually are looking for something to turn that blue curve, which continues to go down and down and down and down. And we believe that our opportunity that we're presenting to operators in this program allows for that to happen. So I thought that was important to share with you viewers so that viewers understand that we're not trying to take money from one pot and give it to the other. We're actually trying to put money in both.
So the next slide was the one that caught my attention that you played from, and that's a visual that ought to get everybody's attention.
We have a couple of them. We can bring those video up. So this is a time-elapse video. It's walking you through the leasing history, and your audience will be able to see how impressive those numbers go. Every blue dot represents a oil, gas, and mineral lease in the Gulf of Mexico, and you get to see the time as it goes, and it's incredible how the growth, again, and you kind of just see it, and then deep water starts coming in, and I'll just kind of let you play through it, and you get to see how tremendous the coverage of leases at that point are in the Gulf of Mexico, just unbelievable. And then we get to a point, and we have a reversal, and now you see in 2016, 2017, maybe we can get one more year out of the video. Not real sure. Seems to be stopping there, but that shows you just how much the lease hole. And you got to have somebody with a lease before you can drill a well, right? It's just, this business starts with somebody drilling a well, but in order before you drill a well, somebody got to acquire a lease.
I thought I saw it going to 2018. I'm gonna see if Jason could maybe freeze it when he gets a chance to put it up. But it was just changing. I want to see that last year to see the impact. But that's really the simplest way to tell the story.
Yeah, here you go. Here. So at one time we had solid blue when we were looking at maybe 1992, 93, and now we basically have sporadic blue in there, and that just goes to show you that folks have said, I'm walking away. I'm walking away. It's not, why do people walk away? Because it's not economic for them to do it. We need to make certain that we are understand what is making it uneconomic and adjust our policy to react to that. Now, what's incredible about this is that, you know, we've talked now for 30 minutes, and this 45-second video kind of basically puts it into perspective, right? So we're going to push this out, obviously. We think that people will be able to get to see exactly what the concerns are. And look, we ought to do it safely, and we ought to do it environmentally sustainable. It is not an option for us as this generation of Louisianans and Americans who've lived through the worst environmental disaster in the history of our country to think that we're going backwards. That's not happening. Now, I don't know if we have the next video that perhaps, okay, so this is, before you put it into motion, if you could just freeze it there for a second. So what this is this represents infrastructure. Now, one of the amazing things that I'll share with you that's absolutely incredible, as we were doing this, putting this report together, we got calls from congressional staff members, from coastal conservation agencies, from the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries. And the number one issue that fishermen offshore have, recreational fishermen have offshore, that they're telling these folks, is that the infrastructure is being removed so fast that the places that they used to go to catch fish are not there anymore.
Right.
So imagine that now what's starting to happen is the fishing economy is going to start to be challenged if we have 1,700 platforms left remaining. We're pulling out 100 a year. We're not putting a whole bunch in. It's only a matter of time, right, before they're gone. And for folks here who host the fishing industry as well, that's an issue. If we could go back to that slide, I thought that slide really did a good job of just kind of showing how the infrastructure came in over time.
It's a lot of artificial reefs.
That's a lot of reefing stuff right there. And look how just, it just gets really, really full and thick in there, and then it starts reversing and just totally thins out, okay? And again, when I speak to the fishing industry, and of course, I support fishing. My father was Secretary of the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries for 12 years, had a lot of friends in this area. I get the fact that we can coexist in this state. We're one of the few states in the union that can coexist between the fishing industry and the oil and gas industry. So that's a good slide. I'm not sure, do we have the production video as well? If we have the production video, we can bring that one up. Okay, so this one shows you production. Again, it shows those areas turning blue, and those areas are the leases, and then you'll see the blue turn to yellow, which is when it goes into production. So here we go. We start acquiring leases. Companies are buying leases. They put leases in their portfolio. They start drilling wells, and then you'll see those blue leases start turning into yellow, okay?
And this is really the growth of all these cities.
Yeah, I mean, you can direct it to, again, Cameron, Abbeville, Delcom, Houma, Morgan City, Berwick, Patterson, Galliano, Cutoff. So look, see, got a bunch of yellow in there, right? Bunch of yellow, bunch of blue, 1990, okay? And then let's kind of see if we go forward here. And then you're going to see, starting to see a radical thinning out. A radical thinning out, there you see it. And so
we had more millionaires per capita in this area than anywhere in the nation.
Well, maybe it used to be, huh?
Used to be,
Hey,
right.
there you go. There you go. And so what you see here, this video is incredible because, again, in 45 seconds, it shows 70 years of history. And there's nowhere near as many producing leases as there used to be. There's not as much infrastructure left. Perhaps we have an opportunity to do something. We certainly are called to try, right? As leaders in the country, we're called to try to do something, and I think that we've put forth a plan that is responsive to what the data screams out.
I'm going to take our final break. We're going to come back, and we're going to have one more segment, and the director is going to put it all in a nutshell. This has been very interesting, and for those who really live here and benefit from our area that have never really known the story, this has been a pretty good lesson. I've learned a lot, and I know you have too. We'll be right back.